All right, everybody. Arcade Up Deluxe Pac-Man Edition. Set up. All right. So here we go, everybody. So this is one of the holiday specials. So this is a nice addition to anybody's game room. Been wanting one since I was a kid. I'm a big kid at heart. PT gonna give you what you got. So we got Pac-Man, Pac-Man Plus. We got Pac-Man Mania, Pac-Man Land, Pac-Man Super Pac-Man, Pac-Man Pow. My favorite, Galaga Mania, Dig Dug 2, Galaxy 2, Mappy, and we got 2 other games I never really played. But this is what you want to have in your pool room for those people who can't shoot pool. Give them something to do. And it's a nice stand-up edition. I played it when I seen it out and saw it out in sand. In the box. Box came with a whole lot of pegs in order. Got everything laid out according to what's here. Verified that for once, everything that's on the list is on the list. And I will say it's labeled properly and it's identified properly. So I got 10 across the top, 3 across the bottom, and it's recommended Phillips screwdriver instead of a power tool because most of the stuff is Phillips heads, and it provided a wrench and everything. And the panels are laid out for easy access assembled, and they are identified by alphabet. Everything is laid by, identical nicely. I think this is gonna be a little time consuming, but if you take your time, I think this is gonna be a great process. So to identify the other components that we have, A is right here, according to the instructions. We have B, that's gonna be right here. We have C, it's gonna be right here, your controller. Then we have panels D and E, right here and right here. Then we got panels DE2 and E2, one each, one here. And then we got the bottom, D2, that's here and here. And also we have I, which is here, and we have F1 and F2, which is right here, F1 and F2.
Those are the panels?
Yes. So also we have L1 is right here for the corn slot, and we have identified most of the components that we're going to use according to the instructions. We have everything that we need for a successful build-up. Right, so now what I'm going to do is move all my material to the left, and that way I've had access to one end of the pool table to start my assembly. So what I did was I took all the boards and laid them out in order. These are the simplest instructions you're gonna get for an assembly. Now I got all the boards, I laid them out in order from L coming back to me. Now I gotta put pegs in all the holes of the pegs. So I got all the boards assembled, laid out in order. All I'm doing now is just adding the pegs. All right, so I ran into my first little roadblock. I was moving a little too fast, a little too hasty. I didn't follow the instructions. I'm gonna leave the instructions down here so I can give you a good visual. So what the instruction says, it got a lot of holes down here, but I did notice, pay attention to the X's. The X's is where you don't put a peg. So like right here, so you don't put an peg in the middle, and then you don't put a peg on the 2 outside holes. Then you got 2 panels that are identical twice. You got 2 K's, 2 P's. But then you don't put the peg on the outside of the G's and everything. So I compensated, went back, found my mistakes, fixed it. So as you can see, patience when you're doing a good process. So we got our next section. We got G1, and put the pegs in. One good thing about this manual, it definitely shows you where the X's are, where the pegs don't go. I got the pegs here. All right, so according to this booklet, 1 is complete. We're going to the next page of the assembly, which is page 2 in the corner. So we're gonna take panel G and make to panel D2. And we're also gonna make G1 to panel G. So, and we're gonna use screws B4. And I can understand why they don't want you to use power tools. Anytime you're dealing with press board, it's easy to bust it or crack it. So you basically want it hand tight. Hand tight. We got some connectors here. Look like they got to be threaded through this hole. All right, next step, we're gonna get panel D2 and mount it with 4 screws. All right. Once again, I'm connecting panel D2 to panel G. And I'm going to use my Phillips screwdriver to connect them down. All right, next I'm going to attach the 2 pieces K's to panel D2. They're going to take 1 screw each, which is screw B. So I'm going to attach those now. Looking at it. Next part of the facial screen, we're going to put on the fake corn slot. So we got L1, which is the fake corn slot, and the panel I, which is what we have here. So we're going to put that together, and we got the hardware. We got K screws and J's. So we're going to put that together. Putting the cap down, screwing it right on top. Remember, you ain't dealing with the most expensive material, so you have to be cautious. And I give them credit because the spacers they giving you and stuff to make sure you maintain the integrity of what you're dealing with, I think it's very noble, very good. So you got spacers to put down on top of these. And each one of these taking a little small screw. So you don't screw the screw all the way through. and tab the piece of material, screwing it in. All right, there we go. Next on the instructions, we got to put panel E2 and mate E2 to G, D2 and G. And it's going to take screws B4. So we can put this right here together. Made it up. All right, so now we done attach panel E2 to panel D2 and G. So next we're gonna slide panel I and mate it to D2, E2, and panel is your fake coin slot. That what everybody used to be put your money in. So this won't take no money, but it will definitely give you the arcade look. All right, next we're gonna assemble. We got two panels, two P's, an L, and panel J to panel D1. So let's see what we got here. Panel D1. Okay, so we need L.
And 2 P's and a J.
Right.
And you're gonna need 3 of the B screws and 2 of the D.
All right, now I'm gonna attach all 3 panels to panel D1. P, J, and L to D1. Now on this panel P, I had to look at it, it was a little confusion. It do overhang on the back. So for those that think like, well, it don't supposed to be there, it do supposed to have a little overhang. Right now I'm gonna attach J to D1. All right, so next we got look like we got the motherboard. We're setting the interface down, and we're gonna attach some attaching points to it. And we got C screws, C8, and we got F4s. We got 4 attaching points, and we're gonna put those down now. I'm going to mate board A, the display board A, to my other board, which was D1. And I'm going to mate this board up here, but also it says be very careful not to scratch it up. So that's what I'm doing now. And we're going to put this bad boy down and hold it together. And be careful of the orientation. And mainly if you want to look at it closely. Look for the holes lining up on the bottom, and that'll help give you a little bit of guidance, help guiding it back in here. right, next step we on is put panels M, H, and B1, and we have to put pegs in them. But like I said, this thing is exceptional for telling you where not to put the pegs. They show you where the X mark the B16s and screws C8, and you also need the hinge F2s. All right, so now we're going to connect panel B1 to panel M. Screw it down. All right, and now we're going to do panel H to B1, like so.
This one on the top.
Yeah, you got 2 slots. Perfect. The problem that we're running into now, the pegs got to line up and set into the slot. So you got to look at it and line your pegs up. And the pegs don't line, then you could be off by a little bit. So we got the assembly with the speakers down, wires hanging out the back. So now I'm going to slide in the cover. Boom. Pac-Man. We can scrape off the B. All right. Final piece to put the puzzle together. We're going to put on panel E1 to mate it to the other 2 panels that we had already assembled. E1 gonna make. Right now we got to put that panel J on. And we're gonna put the piece of the puzzle together, and this is gonna be our finished product. We almost to the house. Now I'm going to put panel E1 5 screws. I'm going to mate it to the panel right here to the assembly, and we're going to close this thing on up. All right, the biggest thing is you're going to have to take your time and try to get these pegs to line up. They're not just going to fall into place. So you're going to have to work with them. These pegs are just not going to just pop into place. You're going to just have to work with them. There we go. let's go. All right, now it's the final phase to put it together. So I'm gonna mount the top to the bottom. So it look like I got 4 pegs, 6 screws. So now I'm gonna set the pegs in and connect it. That's it. All right, so we're gonna do the same on both sides. I originally had already put the screws in the top when it was on the other side. So I got to put the 2 screws there. I just got to put the 2 screws at the bottom. So now I got to finish up a few spots that was left off. So on the main interface up top, I left out some 12 screws. So I got 2 places up there. I got to add screws and also some attaching points that would connect the 2 pieces together for stability and to maintain. I got 2 metal brackets right here, which are gonna put right here pieces from coming apart, 1 on each side. Now we're about to connect A to C and put it in place. All right, most of the time we connecting counter plugs or anything else, you got a little bit of solder to make sure you put it in right. Because these pins, very easy to bend. Bend these pins and you're in trouble. See that little solder right there? See that little lip right there? So that goes right there together. There it is. So we kind of missed a step. This panel right here should have already been in place. So now I got to slide it in place. Set this back in there. That's it. All right. There we go. Now we to the adjusting of the knob, and that's it. So now look like a joystick need to be adjusted. So I'm gonna look at it, and it's just about putting the ball on. So it look like you adjust it, turn it counterclockwise, screw it down, and you put the ball on the ball. Now I'm gonna catch it with catch the wrench, and now. There we go. Well, if you don't use the wrench, when you try to screw the ball down, it's going to freewheel because it's freewheeling. So the wrench just hold the shaft still so you can make it down. These screws ain't made. All right, so now let's put these screws in to hold this in place. So now I'm trying to hook up the wires. So now I got to connect the in. I'm going to plug it into the motherboard. All right, so that's in. All right, so we get to the final stretch over here where you're hooking up wires, and this is the very testy part. Be very careful when you're hooking up wires, because if you hook something up wrong, you can very well burn up what you're hooking up. Or you can cook something and then you don't want to hook right. These things got a limited warranty on it. If you hook it up wrong, it's on you, because you cannot return it to the store. So at this point, if you follow the symbols on the box itself, you got a light symbol, power symbol, you also got a Wi-Fi symbol, and you got another symbol over here for sound. So first thing what I did was eliminated the power symbol, because that right there is what's going to cause you to burn something up. So I eliminated that. So I hook it up with my N. Here's my N connector. I got my N going in. N is gonna go in here, and I also reach down, following my pattern over here, N up to the top. I got an N coming from the bottom, N coming to the top. N is all females. And then I got another one from the bottom. Also, I got my X. I know that's power, that's left out. So I got another one coming from the top, which is right here. This one is gonna be my sound, my M. It's gonna be my sound. So that's right here. Well, if it grew hair around it or something, I get it, but I know that goes here. This white, one at the bottom. I'm assuming they go together from this connection over here, C and D. So I'm gonna hook those two together. All right. Only thing left is to hook up my power, which is X, and we're gonna test this thing out before we put the last two panels on, which will be the last two steps. The last two steps is to put the panels on and then put the power to it, but I'm gonna test it, then put the panels on, because just in case if I did hook something up or something's not right, I ain't gotta take the panels back off. So let's see what we got. Okay, shit, upside down. All right, now let's turn it around. That. Well, this right here is a warranty that when you buy most of them, they'll tell you you cannot return it to the store. You scan this barcode right here, because this is what they're going to give you a warranty. You got up to a warranty this by the manufacturer of it. So enjoy online line board feature with free other connected Wi-Fi. Notice Wi-Fi connection is not needed for a play. Now you can go up on your machine, complete your setup. So basically, what I'm doing now is I'm gonna go in and set up my Wi-Fi. Free play.